2019 presidential elections are just around the corner in Afghanistan, and political leaders are campaigning aggressively. 18 candidates have filed their candidature, but the list is expected to grow shorter after the election office completes their voting process on March the 26th. Will these elections be held peacefully? The doubts are higher after the failed and violent parliamentary elections led to several weeks of tensions in the nation. And behind all this, Taliban. The Taliban threatens and controls large parts of Afghanistan, and ISIS-linked groups have emerged and gained ground, and civilian deaths are on a constant rise. The conflict of Afghanistan started when Taliban emerged in the late 20th century. Taliban opposed westernization of Afghanistan, and the rebelled against the government situation has ever since worsened. But when did this issue become important? When did Afghanistan conflict become a world issue?
Buildings down. We'll hear all of us soon.
On my orders, the United States military has begun strikes against Al-Qaeda terrorist training camps and military installations of the Taliban regime in Afghanistan.
I can confirm that UK forces are engaged in this action.
It was 9/11. Just weeks after September the 11th, the US invaded Afghanistan, where Al-Qaeda planned the attack. US forces targeted Al-Qaeda bases, and Osama bin Laden, supported and harbored by Taliban, who controlled the government at that time. US successfully crippled the Taliban and gained back control of major cities from Taliban, including Kabul and Kandahar, and that's how the war started. But in 2003, the focus shifted to US invasion of Iraq. Most of the funding and military was determined in Iraq, and Afghanistan became a second priority. Taliban saw it as a golden opportunity, and they didn't fail to seize it. Eventually, they started gaining control of their lost territories. However, the United States managed to find and kill Osama bin Laden.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat Al-Qaeda.
But they failed in Afghanistan in rebuilding it. President Donald Trump recently confirmed they will not indulge in more action with Taliban and find a solution to end the conflict. 17 years of war, the longest in the US history, has not yet been concluded. However, the peace talks between US and Taliban are underway.
In Afghanistan, my administration is holding constructive talks with a number of Afghan groups, including the Taliban. As we make progress in these negotiations, we will be able to reduce our troops' presence and focus on counter-terrorism, and we will indeed focus on counter-terrorism.
With the upcoming elections in Afghanistan, the world sees it as a positive step towards peace.
Noble cause of bringing peace to the country.
However, will Taliban accept the government? This question remains.
We do not know whether we'll achieve an agreement, but we do know that after 2 decades of war, the hour has come to at least try for peace, and the other side would like to do the same thing. It's time.
And at the moment, it is too complicated to determine who is winning the war, but the one who's losing the most is Afghan people.